What's up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my first look NFL DFS plays and thoughts for Week 5 in the NFL. Really looking forward to get into it here. Just going to be giving out some of my top plays from a first look perspective. If you guys want all my plays, all my targets, you can sign up on Patreon. $5 a month. The link is in the description below. But with that said, before we get started, if you guys can leave a like, subscribe if you are not subscribed yet. I think like 80 subscribers away from 7,000. So if we can get that this week, that'd be awesome there. So we're going to start with the quarterbacks here, and of course Lamar Jackson's always in play. He had a very good game last week. Mahomes is always in play. Dak Prescott has been fantastic. But I do want to talk about Josh Allen, 7,500 versus Tennessee. Great tournament play here with high upside for Josh Allen. Great cash game play as well. Allen is the real deal. I was not a believer at first, the first couple games, New York Jets, Miami, but then he's, really started to put it on, and he didn't have the best game last week, but still 25 DraftKings points, 34 attempts, 24 completions. He's really, really good. So 7,500, I don't hate that against Tennessee. It should be a decent matchup there. Stackable was somebody I really like and somebody we'll talk about, and that is Stefon Diggs, somebody who has been fantastic so far this year. Averaging 33.1 DraftKings points through 4 weeks. High touchdown upside, 13 touchdowns so far this year. I really like Josh Allen. I think he's one of the best tournament quarterback plays out there this week. And then, getting into some other plays, and I do want to touch on, believe it or not, Joe Burrow. And just for the amount of volume he throws, Joe Burrow, he is 6,000 going against Baltimore here. Not the best matchup in the world, but it does have a 51.5 point game total, and the Bengals are huge underdogs, 13.5 point underdogs. So in theory, they should be coming from behind, leading to more pass attempts for Joe Burrow. Maybe some possible garbage time upside as well. He's averaging 22.1 DraftKings points, has thrown the ball 177 times through 4 games. It is absolutely insane, and I think it's a solid price for the volume that Burrow does bring. We'll take a look at it here. 36 passing attempts in Week 4, 44 in Week 3, 61 in Week 2, and 36 in Week 1. So he is throwing the ball a ton. So I don't hate Joe Burrow, just due to the fact of how much he's throwing. And then another guy that's kind of the same, and that's Matt Ryan. And of course, he had a bad game against Green Bay. He had a bad game against Chicago. So I think a lot of ownership's going to come off of Matt Ryan. I think he's going to be very low owned this week just due to the fact that he hasn't been playing that great as of recent. But this game against Carolina, it's a fantastic matchup. 53.5 point game total, one of the highest on the slate. The Falcons are 3-point favorites. And you're just getting so much volume from Matt Ryan. Week 4, he had 39 passing attempts. Week 3, he had 38 passing attempts. Week 2, 36. And Week 1, 54. I remember last year he was throwing the ball like 50 plus times a game. It was insane, but he has that volume, and that's what you want in DFS, especially at 6,100. If he can get it going, if he can score a couple times, the passing attempts are there. So he's averaging a little bit over 40 passing attempts so far, which is one of the best in the league. I know the wide receivers for Atlanta are a little banged up. Julio came out of the game last night, so we got to monitor that a little bit throughout the week. Ridley had 0 catches on like 5 targets, which was very weird. I believe Ridley was a little banged up himself as well. But, if Julio and Ridley are good to go, I think Matt Ryan should be a pretty solid player at 6,100 in a great matchup against Carolina. And then we're going to get to the running backs here. And we'll talk about, of course you can go with Elliott, Henry. They're all decent plays. But I really we'll start with Clyde Edwards-Helaire here. And he is 6,800 versus the Raiders. 56.5 point game total, which I believe that's the highest on the slate. Chiefs are 12.5 point favorites. Pass catching upside and touchdown upside in what should be a high scoring game here. And with them having the lead, they should lean on Clyde Edwards-Helaire quite a bit here in the run game. 20 plus touch upside in a great offense in the Chiefs. Last week or last night against New England, he had 16 rushing attempts. He also had 3 receptions there on 3 targets. So he's able to catch the ball as well. It's just way too cheap for Clyde Edwards-Helaire at 6,800. He has a ton of upside. These Chiefs running backs are very, very good at fantasy football. I say it week after week. So Clyde Edwards-Helaire is somebody I really do like at running back this week. All right, and then so Nick Chubb is hurt. and I believe he's out, I think they said like 6 weeks, so that makes Kareem Hunt a fantastic play. And I know it's not the best matchup against the Colts here, but Hunt is 6,500. The Browns are 2.5 point underdogs, 47.5 point game total. The volume will be there for Hunt. I know, like I said, it's not the greatest matchup in the world against the Colts, but he does have reception upside, 8 receptions so far in the year, 5 touchdowns in 4 games, and a lot of that was, of course, with Chubb playing. I think this is going to be the cheapest we see Hunt going forward until Chubb returns, so I'm definitely going to take advantage of this play. I really like Hunt this week at 6,500. All right, and then we will touch on a value play here, and that is David Johnson. They priced him down again. He had a decent game last week, 16 carries. He also had 2 receptions, scored 11.2 DraftKings points, was not able to find the end zone there. But another decent matchup here for David Johnson against Jacksonville. The Texans are 6.5 point favorites, so in theory, he should be running the ball a little bit more. 54 point game total, very high total here, one of the best on the slate as well. Just way too cheap at 5,200. I think it should be priced up a little bit more than that. He is averaging 12.7 DraftKings points per game, averaging about 15 touches per game as well. He does have 2 touchdowns on the year, but in a high-scoring game like this, there definitely is some touchdown upside at 5,200. I think it's a decent shot that he could score the ball here. And then he does have that reception upside, 2 receptions in week 4, 2 in week 3, 2 in week 2, and 3 in week 1. He's getting a decent amount of targets as well. So David Johnson is somebody I do like if you do want to punt down at running back. And then one more play we'll touch on, and somebody who I've been talking about pretty much every week, and that is Mike Davis at 6,400 going against Atlanta here. 53.5 point game total, one of the highest on the slate. Panthers are 3-point underdogs. Great matchup here against a pretty bad Falcons defense who is ranked 29th versus running backs thus far. Davis, of course, has that high reception upside that we love in daily fantasy sports, and it might be the last week we can use him. I think they said McCaffrey might be coming back either next week or the week after, so got to take advantage of this Mike Davis play while we can. Touchdown upside in which should be a fairly high-scoring game here. Mike Davis is somebody I like. We'll take a look at the targets and receptions here. 6 targets in week 4. He did have 5 receptions there. In week 3, he had 9 targets, and he had 8 receptions. Week 2, and McCaffrey played a lot of the game. 8 targets, 8 receptions. So he's most definitely able to catch the ball, and was able to score once last week. Was able to score once in week 3 as well. So he's more than able to get into the end zone there. I think 6,400 is more than a fair price for Mike Davis. All right, getting into the wide receivers here. And, of course, we can talk about DeAndre Hopkins all day. We can talk about Ridley, although, very concerning that he had 0 catches last night. But I think he'll be fine going forward. Cooper's fine going forward as well, as always. Stefon Diggs is somebody I really like this week at 7,400 versus Tennessee. The Titans defense hasn't been all that impressive this year, averaging about 9 targets per week, and has scored twice this year, Stefon Diggs. I really do like that Josh Allen and Diggs stack. It sounds very, very nice this week. I think it's a very high upside stack week in and week out. And just a high tournament play overall. I think you can use them in cash as well. I really like Stefon Diggs at 7,000. And then TYREEK Hill at 6,900. I just really don't understand this price of 6,900 for a guy in TYREEK Hill with a 56.5 point game total, highest on the slate. The Chiefs are 12.5 point favorites, so I guess you could worry about the Chiefs getting ahead early in the game and then being kind of conservative going forward, but I think Hill will be fine here. Averaging 18.8 DraftKings points per week so far, high upside play each and every week for Hill. He's always has that big that boom upside for Hill, and he scored in every single game so far. Of course, we don't expect that to keep happening, but I do think every single week he has a decent chance to find the end zone in this Chiefs offense, who has one of the best offenses in the league. All right, and then getting into the next play I want to talk about, and that is Robbie Anderson at 5,900 versus Atlanta. 53.5 point game total, one of the highest on the slate there. The Panthers are 3-point underdogs, averaging 19.7 DraftKings points per game, having himself a year so far. Fantastic matchup against one of the worst passing defenses in the league in Atlanta. I really do want to attack this Atlanta passing defense here. Just a high upside for Robbie Anderson at a very nice price here. We'll take a look at some of the targets. He's getting like 11 targets in week 4, 10 targets in week 2. He's getting the ball thrown to him. I think he has like 2 more targets than Moore, which is the number one receiver on Carolina. So he's getting a lot of volume. And in a matchup like this, I think there's a ton of upside, especially at 5,900. All right, and then another defense I want to attack, and that is the Dallas Cowboys defense, which is, not great whatsoever. I think they're ranked like 31st against wide receivers so far through these first couple games. And in this game, it's a 54-point game total. You'll notice that pretty much all the Dallas games have a huge total, one of the highest on the slate every week. And the Giants are 9.5-point underdogs, rightfully so. So they should be trailing a lot in this game, leading to more passing attempts, leading to more targets for SLAYTON here. Dallas's defense is just really, really bad. He's averaging about 7 targets per game. Very nice price here at 4,800. Of course, you can play Golden Tate as well, I think is in play. But there should be a very high-scoring game here. Maybe some garbage time upside as well for SLAYTON. And I just like SLAYTON because very consistent with the targets he's getting. In week 4, 7. In week 3, 7. In week 2, 6. In week 1, 9. So he's averaging like a little bit of over 7 targets a game. So I really like SLAYTON at that price of 4,800. All right, and then lastly, we will touch on the tight ends here. And how can we not talk about him after the crazy game he had last week? And that is George Kittle here at 6,600 versus Miami. Monster game last week with 15 targets and 15 receptions. Very, very crazy to think about. 183 yards and a touchdown, 43 DraftKings points last week as well. High upside play with lots of volume coming his way. Solid matchup here against the Miami defense. And it's a solid spend up if you do want to spend up at tight end. I typically like paying down for tight end, but Kittle at 6,600 is very, very, very tempting this week. So I will be going there in a decent amount of lineups. All right, and then the other guy I want to talk about, and that is Dalton Schultz at 4,800. He is questionable, but I'm assuming he's going to play going against the Giants here. 54-point game total, one of the highest on the slate. Dallas are 9.5-point favorites. High-scoring game here. Schultz should get plenty of opportunities. 72 yards and a touchdown last week against Cleveland. He's averaging about 7 targets per game so far, which is great for his price at 4,800, and a decent discount off of the top guys at tight end. Should have plenty of chances to score in a game that's projected 54 points. So Dalton Schultz is definitely somebody I'm looking at. All right, so now we are going to get into an example cash build just off the top of my head. We'll start at quarterback here. We'll go Josh Allen here. At running back, we really like Clyde Edwards-Helaire at 6,800. And then Kareem Hunt at 6,500. Getting into the wide receivers, Stefon Diggs. Get that Josh Allen and Diggs stacked there in cash. I like it. Looking down here, Robbie Anderson is fine. We'll skip the tight end here. Tight end will probably have to pay down. If you could go up and get Kittle, Kittle's a fantastic play, but I typically like paying down at tight end and don't mind some Schultz here at tight end. At flex, we will go down and punt at running back and get Johnson in there. We're left with about 3,150 per player. Typically I like to punt at defense, and it has worked out so far this year. Let's see. Why not? Raiders, I guess. And then finally we're left with 4,300. And we can go with I think Harry's fine. We didn't really talk about him, but going against the Broncos, Cam Newton should be back. Harry's been pretty solid this year. So just kind of an example lineup. I'm most definitely probably not going to use this lineup in any cash games or anything, but just kind of something I'm looking at for the first example cash bet of the week. I really like Josh Allen, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Kareem Hunt. I can tell you right now I'm probably sticking with Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Kareem Hunt throughout the week. Really like that Josh Allen Diggs stack. I really, really do like Robbie Anderson. Schultz at tight end's fine. David Johnson as kind of a running back punt. And then Harry should be fine and just punt down at defense. So that's about all I got for you guys. If you guys want to see all my plays, all my targets, all that good stuff, the link to my Patreon is below. And make sure you guys check out my other videos. The showdown videos killed the Monday slate showdown, or the 2-game slate showdown last night. And hopefully we continue the success into Thursday and on Sunday here. So thank you guys for watching. Hit the like button. I really appreciate that. Also subscribe if you have not yet. Appreciate that as well. And good luck on Sunday.